Hey friends, it's Dana back again with the question of the month for May. And just in case you missed it, I'm one of your 2026 spokesmodels for the HIV STOPS WITH ME campaign, and here's the question of the month for May. Now that AI and ChatGPT can be used to create a fake my chart, what advice would you give someone living with HIV to protect themselves? So this is I want to say this question is like an octopus. It can go in 8 different ways. First of all, I have to say, we as HIV positive individuals incur enough stigma on a daily basis. I'm also very public with my status, so it would be very hard for someone to say that I presented them with a fake my chart saying I was HIV negative. That's one thing, because it's very obvious that I am public just by being here on this video and how far and wide social media goes, which is all over the world. So I also caution people to not take a narrative that they may hear and spread it widely, because upon looking through a microscope at a lot of this information, it's not a common trend that people are doing, okay? That should be number one. I also hesitate that we're even talking about this, because now that puts ideas in people's heads and also stigmatizes those of us with HIV even more, and we don't need that, right? The other thing is, I always say, it's different if you're having a one-night stand and nobody's talking about it versus planning, right, to have sex with somebody. If you're planning, nobody could say, I presented a fake test in my chart. Number one, because I'd be like, let's go over now, let's go get tested. And yes, as being undetectable, my HIV positive test may very well come out looking negative. But if you really want to be prepared and not by any chance be blamed for saying you told someone you were positive, you take control, make the appointment, go to a doctor, get tested, blood test, not rapid test, and go through the process, right? That's one way. Another thing is, again, like I said, if we're undetectable, it means we're untransmittable. So regardless of any piece of paper, we're not transmitting HIV. It's very possible that in someone's mind, they may know they're positive and then want to try to blame someone who has already disclosed their status by saying they presented this piece of paper that says they're negative, so they can blame a positive person for their HIV positive status. It's just very unlikely. I'm not saying people don't fake documents. They've been doing that way before social media, way before, AI, ChatGPT, and everything. People were fake doctor's notes to get out of work. So that's been going on for ages. Another practice is always make sure you're using PrEP. But this question isn't about that. It's about how to protect an HIV positive person from this happening to them. I would just take control. Take control. Go get tested. Recommend that the person, or, if you have to, under a notary, you could always say, I am telling this person I'm HIV positive. They have to sign to say they knew before they had sex with me. If you want to go out on a limb, we could go all the way out there and do something like that. The other thing is, I'd want to make sure that that person wasn't already positive before they got with me and just trying to blame it on me or whatever the case may be. This is a little bit wild. I'm not saying these things don't happen. We have the capability to do these things, but on an average basis, these things are not happening commonly. I will always protect myself. I've never had that situation. I have always disclosed my status. But even if you do, I think this question is saying, even if you disclose, that person can say you didn't. You presented an HIV negative test result. All this makes me never want to have sex again. But anyway, there are some precautions you can take by always recommending that person is on PrEP. And that can be documented because they had to get that prescription. And then they couldn't say that we infected them. We are undetectable. They're on PrEP. And also just keeping in mind that women, it is very difficult for a woman to infect a man, even with a detectable viral load. Our anatomy is built very differently, and it's much easier for a man to infect a woman than a woman to infect a man. However, some of us are in same-sex relationships, and so that's why I would recommend going to get tested together. That would be on record. So if they ever said you presented a fake MyChart, or any patient portal, because it doesn't have to be MyChart, you have proof that they got on PrEP and you got tested together, etc. So that's the best I can do for this question of the month. I know it's going to generate a lot of conversation, and I really hope it does, because that gives us an opportunity to have very real conversations about specific situations. So we'd love for you, as always, get on HIVStopsWithMe.org, because it does stop with me. Okay? And we'd love to hear from you and interact with you as well. Make it a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back again in June.